As you can see, the weather is absolutely stunning. I'm here today doing a feature on the Great Ouse on the river that runs through the Bedford town centre. This is the embankment that I'll be fishing, and the other side that runs parallel is the main river. But the fishing is fantastic, and not only that, it's free. The only thing against me today, is how hot it's going to be. They went to the top at 38 degrees. So it's going to be very hot, and that, as you all know, if it's very hot or very cold, it can affect the fishing. But hopefully, I'm going to show you how to catch a few fish on the hemp, maybe the ground bait and pinky, and hopefully a few fish on chopped worm. There's loads of people out today. I know we're going to get a lot of boats because they run up and down here, but it shouldn't be a problem. I can see them coming both ways. Let's hope I can put a few fish together and just show you my approach on the Great Ouse on the town centre in Bedford. Right, I'm going to feed 2 lines. I'm going to bait drop some worms in at about 6 metres. I'll put 2 lots in, and I'll leave that for half hour before I go in it. Well, at least 20 minutes. And I'm going to cup in 4 balls. I'm going to put some pinkies in with my ground bait, some hemp, and some caster. And I've got a mix here. That's my Hinder's Supercharged Natural Black. That's very hemp based, and I've put some brown crumb with it as well, just to give it the food content. Now I'm going to make up 4 balls, this size, like an orange really, small orange. And if I break that open, you can see all those loose offerings inside it. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make up 4 balls, cut them in. I'm not going to ball it, I'm going to cup them in so I know I'm fishing straight over my bait I've cupped in, and loose feed some hemp and caster over the top. That way I know I'm fishing straight over my bait because I've cupped it in one tight area, and I've not made the balls solid so they take ages to break up. I'm going to break up on the bottom and put some feed over just a small area. That gives me the option then, although I'm loose feeding hemp and caster over it, to flick my rig past it and swing it in on it now and again. And what happens is you get the better fish come in, attack the ground bait and move off, back off. And then you trick them because you're only hook bait. When you swing it past your bait coming in, the only bait there's on your hook, and they grab it. And it works very well in Ireland, and it works over here, that the fish, them better fish, just back off your feed, come in, hit it and push off, and you just trick them because you're going past your main feed and catch some better fish. You don't do it all the time, it's just to nick a few better fish, because the majority of the fish are over your feed. So I'll make up another 3 balls, 4 balls, and I'm going to cut them in out there. There we go, 4. And that's enough to carry them straight to the bottom and open up. And I'm going to get that in quick because the pinkies are wiggling away in there and loosening. Incidentally, I broke the pole down there to take the top kit off, because if I put a ball in my top 4, it's very hard then to put it on the rest of your pole. So it's easier to put a shorter length with a weight in the end than a longer length. Let's cut those 4 balls in now. Some people cut them in from a height to make a plot, but it doesn't really bother me. I just want to cut them in and be accurate that I'm fishing over them. So I've got a marker over there. That's 1. Just give it another, just a little light squeeze, just to make sure it holds. Two. Third ball. And 4th ball. And I know my feed is all tight over in one area now. There we go. As you saw there, a boat was going by, but that doesn't worry me at all, because boats come up and down on the River Ouse here through the town centre of Bedford all the time, because there's a couple of rowing clubs, and it doesn't affect it at all. You just got to be careful they don't crash into your pole. You see them coming, because they can't see you. So it doesn't bother me at all. And then all I'll do, I'll just loose feed hemp and cast it over the top, and hopefully maybe later catch some on hemp or even catch some on cast. It gives me both options. Well, you've just seen me catapult some loose offerings out there, which I'll feed regularly when I'm fishing out there. So that's just a few hemp with casters, just mix. I'll just fire them in out there on a regular basis, trying to get the fish feeding and draw fish in over my ground bait that I've put in there. And now I'm going to chop some worms up and put a couple of bait droppers of worms in. So I'm not going to put loads in. You see, it's very hot. The worms are trying to escape. They're trying to get in the cool. So I'm going to put a few in there. Chop them up in a tin. Pair of scissors. Poor little worms. I'll chop them up probably up to 1/2 inch size pieces. So just chop them up and I'll show you. There, that'll do. Out like that. You know, probably might be some inch pieces in there, but different sizes, and that put a nice bed on the bottom of the river. But I'll put them now into my bait box, and I'll just mix some casters with them. In fact, I'm going to put those worms in there because that's getting very hot. So it's going to be 38 degrees today, hottest day in England this year. Lovely. Right, there we go. You can see I've mixed them up. Casters and worms, my big fish line, and I'm going to bait dropper those in. The river, it's hardly moving. It's got good colour in it. It's like an algae bloom, but it's hardly moving. But by putting it with a bait dropper, this is one of the old Fox ones I've had for, cool, I must have had it 10, 15 years. And you can extend the bottom on them. You can see there, you can screw it on. But what that does, that hits the bottom and drops a worm. Not right tight to the bottom like there, but a little bit of height, so it just spreads it on the bottom. If there's a little bit of weed there, it will put it over the top. All I do, I just simply load it up. There we go. Put the lid on, and when that hits the bottom, that'll just open first time. Just make sure that hook's right tight in the rubber there. When that does, that hits, that door will fall open, and now it'll fall. So let's put it in there. Unless the swan gets it first. Come out the way, Mr. Swamp. Put that one in. Got a marker there, there's a bench over there. Lower that down, hits the bottom. Don't put it up quickly straight away, just give it a couple of little jerks so you know all the baits come out on the bottom. Then lift it up. There she has, she's emptied, all the bait's on the bottom. And I'll leave that, like I said, for about 20 minutes before I have a look. Just see what I can catch out there on the ground bait, the 4 balls that I cupped in. So let's give that a go. Well, I've got 3 rigs I've set, but it would have been 4, but when I plumbed up and found I only got like 5.5, 6 foot, I didn't need a real heavy one. So I've set up a shot worm rig, gram float, a little prototype one of mine, and if I slide it all the way up here, that's 018 through to 016, Olivet there. If I take my hook off, that's 016 to 14 hook, so if I hook anything big, it hopefully won't bust me. 6-inch hook length, as you can see there, Olivet, 1 dropper, and then the hook. That's my chopped worm rig. Elastic in there, that is a Holocore 10 to 12, the orange. So that's very forgiving, but that will put a lot of pressure on the fish if I get a big fish, and it's forgiving enough for the smaller fish. Then I've set up a gram rig, one of my MP roach, at a gram, 012 main line, down to my Olivet, 08 hook length and an 18. What's interesting, if you can see there, is it's like gudgeon fishing. I've got the Olivet 2 droppers, so literally from my hook to my Olivet is probably just under 12 inches. You can see there. So it's all positive. I lower it in, lift it up, just drop it in, and I can rest my bite straight away. The elastic on there is solid number 4, the Matrix number 4, through just the top section of my pole. It's forgiving enough, and it won't be too stretchy, because if it's too stretchy, the fish will be playing you rather than you playing the fish. Then my last rig, because I'm going to be feeding, I'm going to cup in ground bait, and I'm going to be feeding hemp and castor over the top, but my last rig is for fishing hemp. It's an MP1, my favourite floats, wire stem, the other 2 are carbon, and I've got strung out stots. There it is, wire stem, 7x10, MP1. And if I come down the line, that's 012, 08, shots strung out in the last 2.5 foot. I've got 10s down to 2 11s. So I can lay that in and it will slowly weight up. The wire will cock the float, and as it weights up, I can register my bites. And if needs be, I can shallow up, and that's set just at dead depth. 3 simple rigs. Let's put them into action and see if we can catch a few. There we go, I just had an early look on the chopped worm. I've got a bream. Unbelievable. That'll be a bonus. Well, where there's one, there's definitely another. Look at me, he's a beauty. Look at him. Beautiful fish. Roach on a bit of worm. Beautiful fish. Well, I've just gone on the chopped worm line. I had a bream, 9 second put, 2.5 pound, beautiful fish. And then a roach, a good roach, about 5 ounce. There's another bite. That's definitely a small perch. But I'm just thinking in my mind, right, because I went out there on the long line and it was bleak after bleak. So I thought I'd let that settle and just drip hemp and castor over the top. I've been on this probably 15 minutes now, and I'm going to just see what I catch the next 5-10 minutes. And I'll put some more worm in, and then maybe have a look on hemp. Start on pinky first, and then maybe change it to hemp. There's definitely some fish down there on the worm, but I'll just give them another bait dropper full, just to try and settle them down. But it's to catch a roach on that chopped worm. I know there's definitely roach out there, but it's just a matter of trying to present it to them the bait they want. And when I started out there on castor and then pinky, it was just bleak, one after another. And yet, when I got here, you couldn't see any topping or rising. Now you see the odd few rising where I'm feeding out there. But obviously, I've got the option of putting hemp on my lighter rig and hopefully maybe catch some roach. But I'll just give this another couple of minutes and then I'll put some more worm in and go out there on that longer line and have a look. I started out where I'd put the ground bait in, but I normally on my worm line, even though I put that in at the same time at the start, I leave it maybe 20 minutes before I have a look. I mean, a lot of people ask me, do you go straight on it? I like to leave it and let it settle, because if there is some big fish there, you want them to settle down and just feel confident, because you can go in and nick a couple of big fish quickly. And if there are a couple more there, they'll just back off, and then when you refeed it again and carry on doing something else for another half hour, 3/4 an hour, it gives them a chance to settle again. If you go straight in on it, I think you just kill it dead. You might get a decent fish and that'd be it, a couple of small perch. And because they're big fish, I like to move in and settle and mooch around over your bait. I can get little indications there, so it feels I want to top it up and just leave it. Then go back out over my longer line where I'll put the ground bait in and where I've been dripping castor and hemp. There we are, I've just come off the bottom. Lovely roach. Come off the bottom about 3 inches, and that's just on a piece of hemp, but I've pinned it. You can see it's on there. And what I've done with a little tool we brought out in the Matrix range, got a little sharp point, and you can just poke a hole in the eye of the hemp and then push a hook in the eye of the hemp, turn it round, and that way it's on there and won't come off. You can miss 4 or 5 bites and it doesn't come off, but you can catch 6, 7 fish on the same piece. It's awesome. Let's see if we can get another one. You can see the paddle boarders are coming by. I'll fire a little bit of hemp out there. Just don't think the fish will be too bothered. It's so hot, and they're used to it. I mean, it's just nothing. There's swans and people up and down on other boats and that all the time, on canoes. So let's lay it in and see. It was a lovely bite that was, just slid under. Got an 18 hook on. There we go, bite straight away again. How I missed that, I never know. Lay it in again. It's a strung out rig, it's on my MP1s, 7x10, just strung out, a few stots strung out along the line. There we are. They're coming right up in the water now, these roach. They come off and my hemp's still on there, so back out again. That's probably 6 foot out there. Wouldn't surprise me if we could probably catch on hemp 2.5, 3 foot deep, half depth. I've got a longer line there, so I'm swinging it in, trying to keep the pole tip away from it. Even though the water's coloured, I just not putting a pole tip right over them. It bites all the time on hemp as soon as it goes in. So each feed, I'm probably feeding 10, 20 grains of hemp. Might sound a lot, but it's not really. It's going out there. I think every bit's been eaten before it gets to the bottom. The amount of bites I'm getting. Well, I've been back on the chopped worm again. Like, I've had that bream, I've had 2 other small perch, and the float flitted around, shot under, I lifted up nothing, and it just bit me off. I reckon it might have been a big eel. But I've still been feeding that hemp line out there. I've cut the caster out because there's just so many bleak out there. You get a lot of boats come through now and it's getting very hot. I'm going to chop a few more worms up and bait drop some more worms in down there and go out and have a look on the hemp again. If it was a match, I may think about targeting those bleak, but I don't want to do. I'm just trying to show you what the river is capable. There's some lovely roach in here. Surprised I haven't had any more perch down there though, because there's a lot of perch in this river. Maybe it's just the heat of the day, it's just they don't want to feed. Keep lifting it, enticing it to take it. Works very well when you're fishing chopped worms, just jigging your worm about over the worms you've put in and they find it irresistible and just grab your hook bait. Just lift it up and drop it down. Sometimes it just carries on going and fish on, but a lot slower today. Just feels like the heat slowed everything down. Well, I think we'll put a few more worms in there with a bait dropper and have a look on the hemp. Well, there's another nice roach on the hemp. They're taking probably 3 foot down. Beautiful fish. Absolute beauty. Yeah, I've just cut out the caster and just started feeding hemp because I was just getting bleaked out. And I kept looking at my chopped worm line, just feeding the hemp. I've gone out, just pinning it, as you can see on there, and it's literally a bite every put in. And I've taken it on the drop. I shut it up 2 or 3 inches, so I'm 2 or 3 inches off bottom. I could probably catch it 3 foot, but sometimes they like it just falling through that water. But we'll see as the session goes on. I may even shell up a little bit more, but I'll just see. Getting plenty of bites, and they're not bleak, they're definitely roach, cute roach. I reckon one's grabbed it now on the drop. Yeah, there you are. I knew it took it. That's a better one, I think. just holding it up as soon as it goes in, really. Yeah, nice roach. Lovely condition, beautiful fish. Right, I'm going to shallow up now. I've had a couple of better roach as soon as it's gone in, and I've had a couple of quick takes, so I reckon they're like half depth. I'm just going to try it half depth to see if that's where they're feeding, and when this drifts past them. And it's too long a line what I want to fish, but I'm just going to see first, the experiment before if I was to cut the line in, just see if that goes at that depth, which I'm sure it will. Sometimes they like it falling through the water, that's why they take it. Let's just pin another bit and see what happens. Right, let's see, that's probably nearly 3 foot deep, as tall as me. There we are, very shallow they are. Probably 2-3 ounce, and that's 3 foot deep. I missed the bite the first put, and that took it straight away. Yeah, that's why I'm pinning the hemp, as you can see, because I've missed it twice. If I wasn't, I'd have to come in and rebait, and I haven't had to. But I'll pin another bit and see if I catch another one that depth. I think there'd be better fish at that depth as well. You see, it's a little bit fiddly to get the flies on me, get it on, but once it's on, I know I can have 2 or 3 strikes and be quite confident the hemp's still on the hook. Whereas if I push it in, it's off every time. Let's see if we can get another one. The boat's upset a little bit though, but let's see. Just coming up for the hemp they are. I disgorged that and I've still got the hemp on there. Lovely. Well, I'm fishing hemp now, shallow. I've shallow up to probably about 3 feet. And I had been feeding a few casts, and originally I put some casts in my ground bait, which can work, but I've just been feeding hemp for about the last hour. I just popped a caster on and had like a 4 to 6 ounce roach first put on it. Unbelievable. And then I had a bleak the next put on it. So, you know, I just tricked one fish into taking it. For some reason I've got a nice big bit of hemp on there, and I think it's too big. I'm going to take it off. I think they like just a little black bit that's just sort of like a medium-sized piece of hemp. Not the smallest, not the biggest, and that's, I'll have that every time if I don't drop it. But there's some fish feeding there now, but where it's so hot, all they want is a piece of hemp. It's unbelievable. Tried my bottom rig again, it was just bleak. I had a look on my chopped worm rig. No, nothing. Now that bit's absolutely perfect. I bet I get a bite as soon as it goes in. I think it's like when you fish pinky as opposed to maggot. You catch far more on fluoro pinky or pinky, which is a smaller bait, than you do on maggot most days. I've laid that in straight amongst the feed. Now it's on the drop that went to go, and again, there it goes. That's a lovely bite that was. Sailed away. Oh, a nice roach. Take straight away, that just went to go. There it goes, go on. straight away, lovely. Right, put that in the net and I'll have a look on that chopped worm. Five minutes on the hemp, and then back on that worm, have a look. Oh, oh. Oh, another roach. Nice roach on chopped worm. Lovely fish. Should net it really, but look at that. Best roach I've caught, and I've caught it on my chopped worm rig. Unbelievable. Well, there we are, lovely bag of fish, some lovely roach on hemp, nice bonus bream on the chopped worm, probably 2.5, close to £3. It's been a cracking session, given the heat. I thoroughly enjoyed it, I hope you have. Now let's get these back in the water. There we go, let's put them back. All go, there goes the bream, there they go. Time for an ice cream, I reckon.